Hi, I'm Pat, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to fix a paint chip on the hood of the BMW i8. For those that have been to the channel before, you know that I daily drive the BMW i8. If you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, because I'll be posting BMW i8 content often. So, when I daily drive the BMW i8, I can encounter some road hazards from time to time. And it just seems that I actually have my first paint chip in the hood of the car since I've owned it. Let's take a closer look. This week it rained a lot, and as I'm driving through the rain, I didn't realize, but I must have actually had an impact with something that got sprayed up off the road. I was washing the car and I noticed a spot wouldn't come out right here. Now, if we take a close look at that with the reflections, if I can get it here on camera, there is a couple Mars near that spot, and of course the spot itself. And I could see it in person, but I'm not sure if we can get it on camera or not. But anyway, the spot is here that's missing paint, and right next to it are a couple Mars here, and there's a tiny little fleck here, which I don't know what this is. So I'm going to go ahead and use some polish on this first to see if I can get these other Mars out, and then I'm going to fill this hole of this chip in the paint using Dr. Colorchip. Let me show you all the products I'm going to use. Today, the MEGUIAR'S quick detailer and a piece of MEGUIAR'S clay bar, microfiber towel. That's in order to get all the initial contaminants off of the surface. Then I have a spray bottle here with 50% isopropyl alcohol. Then I also have the Dr. Colorchip paint and sealant, and it comes with a lint-free cloth, a microfiber towel, and some gloves. I'm also going to use my MEGUIAR'S 210 polish along with a finishing pad and a microfiber towel. And I'll do that after I go ahead and start with the quick detailer. So I have my MEGUIAR'S quick detailer. Give it a quick spray and a wipe just to make sure I get anything off the immediate surface here. Then I'm going to give it another spray, and I'm going to use my clay bar in order to ensure that I get any contaminants out of this area. And that's because if anything is sticking, when I go ahead and run the buffer over this, I don't actually have to pull contaminants into the buffer. The buffer should work just fine in order to get any of these Mars out if they are buffable. So I'm going to check that first. I'll go ahead and give this area a wipe. So I have my MEGUIAR'S buffer and a couple spots of that 210 polish. I'm going to start off at 3,000 RPM and then kick it up to 3,800. Now I can wipe off the excess and then assess what it looks like after polishing it. So I made a few passes with the polish, and that's because I don't want to really take off a whole lot of paint. And I can actually see some marring. It seems like some type of a rock or something hit right in this area and then bounced up, and I have no idea where it landed. So I'm going to get out my compound now. I'm actually going to hit this with a 110 in this area with a microfiber pad, and then go back over it with the polish just to see if I can get some of these Mars out of here. I have my MEGUIAR'S 110 compound on this microfiber pad. I'm going to rub it into the pad to prime it, and therefore it should have enough compound in order to do the work I want to do. I'm going to start off at 3,000 RPM and work up to 4,800. I'll take a closer look. And I can still see a little bit of marring in here. So I'm going to take the 210 back out with the finishing pad and go ahead and clean up what I just compounded. So there are a few Mars here. I can see them because of the light that's behind me. It actually bounces off, but it's it's harder to see. Unless you know exactly what you're looking for, it's going to be hard to see that. So at this point, I can go ahead and put the IPA on here, the isopropyl alcohol. And squirting the isopropyl alcohol over this is going to make sure that I don't leave any type of polish behind. It's going to clean the surface and make sure that when I go ahead and add paint to this, that the paint will bond and won't fleck away. So here's the Dr. Colorchip product that I ordered. It contained the paint, and the paint code for this white is C02. So here's the paint, CO2, and this does not have the pearl in it that this car has, because if it did have the pearl in it, it would reflect poorly. You could see this mark much better even after you decided to go ahead and fix the paint chip. So this has a little ball in it. You just shake it up. The kit also came with a couple squeegees. So you have a small squeegee, which is the one I'm going to be using. And there's also a large squeegee here for a bigger area. And then you have the SealAct. Now, this is half empty because I've actually been using it on my cars for the past 6 months. And that's the reason why I'm talking about it today. I've been very, very happy with this Dr. Colorchip product on all my vehicles so far. So I picked up 4 different paint colors because I have the orange truck, I had red Dodge Dart, but I also have black on the car, and I picked up jet black as well as this white, which is the base color for underneath this pearl coat. There are several methods for how you apply this. I'm actually going to use the squeegee method today. So I'm going to pour the paint into the paint chip, and then I'm going to squeegee it over the top. Once it starts to become less tacky, and then I'm going to take the SealAct on top of this piece of cloth that's lint-free and go ahead and wipe it down, and that should cover this spot. Let's see it work in action. Okay, so I'm going to take this paint, I'm going to go ahead and drip it on top of the chip. Here's one spot. Then I'm going to take the squeegee and I'm just going to pull it back over the chip. And I'm just going to clean up a little bit of the excess that I can see right here, right now. Got a paper towel, and just going to take that excess off of there. And I'm going to let it not have any more tack. I don't want to let it dry completely, but I want to make sure that it gets down to the point where it's sort of tacky so that I can get this excess off of here. So next I'm going to shake up my SealAct, and I have my lint-free cloth. I'm just going to put the SealAct right on the lint-free cloth. Okay, a few drops of SealAct, and now I can go back and forth over the chip, pressing very lightly. And then once that starts to dry up, I can go over it with a microfiber towel. So come in here and at this angle, we'll take a little bit closer look. I can see it, it's right there, but it's going to be harder to see. If you get 2 feet away from the car, it's going to be extremely difficult. You really got to get up on top of it in order to see that. And I could probably catch it right there in the reflection. So it is there, it is a big enough spot, but now it does have paint in it. So we're good to go. I'm just going to go ahead and give this another wipe with the SealAct and make sure that I don't have any residue left over from that paint. And then I can just go ahead and apply a wax or sealant on top of this in order to protect it. And while I have everything out, I noticed a couple more chips here and here and here. They're pretty small, but once I got up really close to them, I could see that they weren't just bugs, that they're actually tiny paint chips. So I'm going to go ahead and use the other method that I have here, and that is using the squeegee first, but I'm going to apply paint to it, and then I'm going to fill the hole. And I could just take some of the paint and drip it on top of the squeegee, and then use the squeegee in order to fill the paint chip holes. I'll put a few spots of SealAct here on this lint-free cloth and then wipe it onto the surface nice and gently. So I don't want to push in any specific area because I don't want to pull paint out of the paint chips. I just want to take off any paint that is on the surface of the bumper. So this is actually a hard angle for me to work at, but let's see what happens. Excellent. So now we've filled these 3 paint chips. So I can go ahead and give it a wipe down with the microfiber cloth next. Now, in order to use Dr. Colorchip, you're going to need to know your paint code when you put in your order. There'll be a link in the description below that will allow you to find the exact paint color of your car so you can submit your order correctly. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and let the paint cure for a while before I add any sealant to it, because I want to make sure that it dries completely. And after that, I can apply my MEGUIAR'S Fast Finish. It's just a polymer coating for now until I finally get around to redoing or paint correcting the rest of the car. And at that point, I can go ahead and put something like a ceramic coat on the car. But for now, hey, at least these paint chips are covered and everything's protected. I don't have to worry about corrosion. I don't have to worry about it standing out and looking worse. And yeah, I wish I could put paint protection film on the car, but with things like this that happen over time, well, putting paint protection film over the top is just going to make things like this stand out. So it is what it is. This is how I'm dealing with it. And if I don't like it over time, I can just have panels repainted. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment box below. I'll have a link in the description to all the products that I used today, and I do highly recommend Dr. Colorchip. This is a great product. Very, very happy with it. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, and happy motoring.